Hi, I'm talking about Cubelets today, and this is a lightning lesson we bring into schools, elementary schools, for grades K through 5, and it's about a 45-minute program. Let me show you what's in the kit. We have Cubelets, 14 sets of Cubelets now, and we have the lesson directions, of course. We have a book that we read, especially to the younger grades, called Boy and Bot, and that's part of the kit. We have curriculum guides for grades 1 to 3 and then 4 to 6 for lots more information. We have some Legos in the kit, which is good for attachments. And we just have extra cubes as well, because at the end of the lesson, especially with the older kids, they like to add on to their original 8 cubes and make something pretty wild. So it's pretty fun. And then we also have challenge cards here. I think that's everything. There's 2 boxes that go with the kit, plus a smaller box that includes a charger. Okay, well, let's start with what Cubelets are. They are modular and they're magnetic, and the way you put them together is how you make your robot. There are 3 kinds of Cubelets. There are the Cubelets that think, and that includes the blue battery, the Cubelets that act. We've got wheels, we have a rotator, and we have a light. So those are act. And the sensing ones. This senses movement, light, and this is a knob that goes on and off. So that's the basic ones that we have. There are other kinds of Cubelets, but we've narrowed our lesson down to using these basic, really 8. This is sort of an extra one. We don't actually have enough of those, but occasionally we'll hand it out to students who spot it and want to try it. Okay, so these are our 8 Cubelets that we hand out. I first start by reading the book, and we have a discussion about how robots and humans are different. And depending on the grade, they'll have all sorts of ideas about that. And this story is about how the boy was different from the bot. And so it's a really good story. It's not that long. And sometimes I'll even read it to the older kids. But after this, and after our discussion about humans and robots, we play a game, especially with younger grades. And it is red light, green light, only in a classroom setting, the kids are going to move like robots and then stop when they see me put a red sheet up. I have a red sheet and a green sheet of paper. And we decide what'll be our on-off switch. So sometimes I'll tweak my ear or something. And so I'll say, go. The kids move around, walking. They can walk around the room. And then I say, stop. I also hold up the red sheet of paper. They stop. And I just see who was not paying attention. It's just a fun little filler, honestly, for the younger kids. All right, so once they're in groups, and this is definitely a group activity in a classroom, kids really have to share and give each other a chance at working with the Cubelets, and it's hard. It's hard for some groups. But starting with the battery, I talked about these 2 also being think Cubelets, and the green one is a passive Cublet. It doesn't do a thing, but it does lend support. It will make things more stable. The red one is an inverse, and so once you're doing one thing, add this, and it'll do the opposite. And of course, the wheels, the light, the rotator, self-explanatory, and also the movement and the light sensor. But let me put one together. The first one I like to show kids is the Frady bot. You need some wheels, you need a battery, and you need the movement sensor. Put that all together. Click on the battery right here. you can see it's detecting my hand, and we call that the Frady bot. So that is the first 3 sets of cubes that we hand out to the groups. And my instruction to them is for each student in the group to make this move a different way. And so they can do that by switching the wheels a different way. For instance, or they might want to see if it would go forward. Let's see. Oh, no, my wheels are not the right way. I'm not going to do much. And there's a forward one, the opposite of the Frady. Kind of slow. Okay. And so hopefully there's maybe 3 or 4 students in the group, and they can each get a chance to make this go a different way. All right, so that's the first 3 we hand out. The second set of cubes we hand out are the passive and the inverse, the light and the rotator, and the light sensor. And the next activity we do with them is to build a lighthouse. We ask them, what's a lighthouse? Some of them know, some of them don't. And so we simply build, you need, let's see, the battery. The passive is just going to be for support because it gets a little tall. And let's do need a light sensor. Need a rotator because we all know that lighthouses rotate the light on dark, stormy nights. All right. Now, I usually ask the students, what is wrong with this lighthouse? And some of them will know that, well, the lighthouse is working in the daytime. What good is that? Ships can see in the daytime. And that's exactly right. That is the problem. And so I ask them how they would make this different. What could we do to make this more light efficient? And so, of course, the answer is to use the inverse, to make it do the opposite. And so we put the inverse between the sensor and the ACT cubelets. Now let's turn it on again. See how it gets very tall. Okay. Now I'm covering that light sensor. So really trying to simulate darkness. And so that's my light efficient lighthouse. Now, before I even hand a cubelet to a student, I will tell them how expensive this equipment is. And I forgot to say that before, but again, after your PPLD introduction, which is always the first thing, talk about how expensive these are and how when it gets tall like this, somebody really has to hold it steady. And invariably, these go tumbling off the table. We try not to, react too strongly, but just we remind them to be careful. Okay, because these are very, very expensive. All right, so that's the lighthouse. I just need to refer to my lesson here so I don't forget anything. Okay, so after the group builds a lighthouse, builds an inverse lighthouse, we have these other activities that they can try. Just depends on how each group is doing. And you saw my bucking bronco at the beginning of the video. This is a sensor one. Now some of these will require you to give them an extra piece. And we do have extra cubelets in our extra box here. And so for instance, the steering bot is going to need an extra set of wheels and also an extra set of movement sensor. So let me just quickly show you what that would look like. You need 2 sets of wheels on both sides here. Oh, here's my other wheel. And I need a sensor facing up, a movement sensor, and then also another movement sensor right here. Okay, let's turn that on. Okay, my wheels must be such that they're turning. All right, okay, well, it's kind of doing the twist. I'm not sure why it's not actually going forward. I have two kinds of wheels. Maybe that's the difference. Let me put on the same. I think one set is a little older. Okay, let's try this again. Whoa, okay. And then they could, this is why it steers, because you're trying to make it. I picked up one. Okay. All right. Now, of course, the danger always is that these would run off the table, and we just try to get them to keep it on the table. All right, so that is, I had to give them two sets of wheels for that one and two sensors. The Bucking Bronco required an extra set of wheels too, and this wheelie bot requires a Lego attachment to make it unsteady. So that one would go with the wheelie bot. So after they've completed all of these challenges, they've done everything we've asked them to do, our last direction is to make a robot that is like the biggest, best robot they can.
We created a robot. Is that like the gun or something? Kind of the skateboard. She's like, I am told it is.
Here's the creature I made. Thanks for joining me for the Cubelets Lightning lesson. If you have any questions, email me at bmcdonald@ppld.org. Thanks for watching.